Hey Algebra crew, today we're doing section 10.4, solving radical equations. And this is a pretty easy section, but there is something I do want to point out. You can get solutions that are called extraneous solutions, where after you're done with the problem, you must check your answers into the original problem to see if it works, because sometimes your answers will not work. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to do the first four problems, okay, 1 through 4 on page 636. And then I'm also going to do a problem where you're going to get an extraneous solution just so that you can see what it looks like. All right, so problem number 1. All right, problem number 1 says the square root of 3x plus 10 is equal to 16. Notice how this plus 10 here is not underneath the radical. Your first step, we need to subtract this on both sides so that we can get the square root of 3x is equal to 6. And now remember, in order to get rid of a square root, we must square both sides. Like that. So the square root of 3x squared is just 3x. And 6 squared is 36. So we divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 12. Now, we need to check our solution. So you come over here and you do a check, and you use the original problem. So the square root of 3, and instead of x, I'm going to put the 12 in there now. Plus 10, does that equal 16? So the square root of 36 plus 10 equals 16. 6 plus 10 equals 16. 16 is equal to 16. So we are good to go. This worked out. That's our solution. All right, number 2. Number 2, we have the square root of r plus 5 is equal to 2 square root of r minus 1. Now, this 2 is on the outside of the radical, but you don't add or subtract anything. You just leave it alone for now. If it was 2 plus, then that would be a different story. But they're not going to give you anything like that. We can just start by squaring everything. So we now have r plus 5 is equal to, don't forget to square that 2. All right, and then we need to distribute this. So r plus 5 is equal to 4r minus 1. And then we just do normal math here. All right, I'm going to subtract the r. So I have 5 is equal to 3r minus 1. Then I'm going to add the 1. 6 is equal to 3r, and finally divide, r is equal to 2. Okay? Now, in this example here, oh, you know what? I screwed that up. I forgot to distribute the 4, should go there. All right? So I'm actually not adding 1, I'm adding 4. So this number should be 9. Sorry about that. So your answer should be 3. All right, that's my fault. So I forgot to distribute there. So 4 times r is 4r. 4 times 1 is 4. And then you get your answer as r is equal to 3. Okay? Now, I need to check that answer. All right, so I'm going to come over here and check it. So we have the square root. I'm going to do a 3 plus 5. That 3 is the r. is equal to 2 times 3 minus 1. All right. So this is the square root of 8. This is equal to 2 times the square root of 2. And this can be broken down. This is actually equal to 4 times 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. This works. So 3 is your answer. All right, let's do number 3. Number 3, they tell us the square root of 2x minus 1 is equal to x. Once again, I'm going to square both sides. So I have 2x minus 1 is equal to x squared. So we have a quadratic here. I'm going to move everything to the right-hand side. So this is 0 is equal to x squared. Remember, I subtracted a 2x on both sides, and then I added the 1 over here. And then you solve this just like we've been doing. So x goes here, x goes there. It looks like it's going to be minus 1, minus 1. So our solutions are x minus 1 is equal to 0. X minus 1 is equal to 0. Obviously, we're going to get the same answer here. X equals 1. You only need to write it once. Okay? X is equal to 1. Once again, I'm going to check my work. So the square root of 2 times 1 minus 1, is that equal to 1? So 2 times 1 is 2 minus a 1. We got the square root of 1 is equal to 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. So that works. All right. Now let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 says the square root of x minus 3 is equal to the square root of x plus 5. I'm going to square both sides. So I get x minus 3 equals x plus 5. Look what happens here. If I subtract the x on both sides, this cancels, that cancels. We're left with negative 3 is equal to 5. That's a problem, and this will happen on some of your questions. Negative 3 does not equal 5. So what's the answer? No solution. There's no solution to that. So you can just stop. All right? And then I have one more problem that I want to do, just so that you know what an extraneous solution is going to look like. All right, and I'm going to do it in this box here. All right, and this problem is negative y equals the square root of y plus 6. And we're going to solve this problem just like we solved that problem. We need to square both sides. So negative y squared is y. And then y plus 6. I'm sorry, negative y squared is y squared. And then y plus 6. I'm going to move everything to the left because my y squared is already on the left. So y squared minus y minus 6 is equal to 0. All right, so a quadratic, put the y here, y here. It looks like our answer is going to be minus 3 and a plus 2. All right, so y minus 3 equals 0. All right, and y plus 2 equals 0. So it looks like y is going to equal a positive 3 and a negative 2. We need to check both of these answers. All right? So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to substitute. Here's my and I'll do the checking in a different color here. We'll use purple. All right? So this is my check, and I'm going to show you what happens with one of these solutions. All right? So the check says negative, remember it's a negative y. I'm going to plug the negative 2 in, so it's negative of a negative 2 is equal to the square root of negative 2 plus 6. Well, what is negative of a negative 2? That's just a positive 2. And then over here we have the square root of 4. 2 is equal to 2. That one worked. All right? So that's definitely one of my answers, negative 2. Now look what happens when we plug a 3 in. So negative 3 is equal to the square root of 3 plus 6. All right? So negative 3 is equal to the square root of 9. Negative 3 does not equal 3. Negative 3 does not equal 3. Look at that. So this appears to be a solution. 3 appears to be a solution. It is not a solution. So on a quiz or a test or anything, if that happens, you know if it's a multiple choice test, the test is going to say, oh, your solutions are 3 and negative 2. In all actuality, your solution is negative 2, and then you have an extraneous solution of 3. So the 3 doesn't really work. That's what that means, okay? Now remember, when you're checking your answers, you're plugging in your answers to the original equation, all right? You're plugging it into the original equation. That's why I didn't square any of this stuff. I just did it right back into the original equation. Don't forget that, all right? So hopefully this helps a little bit. All right, for your homework. And make sure you do the homework, all right? And make sure you check every answer that you get to make sure that it is a true solution and not extraneous. Hopefully everybody's staying healthy, and hopefully I see you soon.